Thanks for joining us, the two gamers, for another video. I'm Sarah.
My name is Mark.
And today we are going to be sharing with you our top 10 two-player only games.
That's right. Two-player only games. Now, this does mean that we are not going to be sharing our favorite games that you can play with two players that are designed as multiple player counts. This is the games that are designed for two players only. They might have a solo variant or a variant for four players, but these are specifically designed for two players. So without further ado, by the way, I forgot to mention, this is Aowen.
Aw, hi Aowen. Say hi to everybody.
So without further ado, here is our list.
My number 10 is Dracula versus Van Helsing. In this game, you are going to play as one of two characters. You're either going to play as Dracula or you're going to play as Van Helsing. This is a hand management, asymmetrical play, asymmetrical win conditions style game, which has kind of a feel of trick-taking in it. And so what you're going to do as Dracula is your goal is to turn all of the citizens into vampires or escape. So you have a ship that's counting down. And so Van Helsing only has 4 rounds, I think.
4 or 5, I don't know.
4 or 5 rounds to defeat Dracula. So Van Helsing's goal is none other than to kill Dracula. This is so much fun. It's got a lot of strategy to it. This has got a really fun balance. There's 4 townsfolk in each section that Dracula has to turn into vampires. And so you have a little bit of time before he either escapes or is able to do that. And so the strategy here is to balance allowing him to turn some of the people into vampires while chipping away at his health. So really fun, a lot of strategy. I definitely enjoy playing this one with Mark.
And it's quick and somewhat short.
It is relatively quick, which is really nice. So you actually could play 2 games. So that is my number 10, Dracula versus Van Helsing.
My number 10 is Targi. And this is the expansion box, because yes, we have the expansion. Targi is a worker placement, resource management, and set collection game where you are going back and forth using your workers to place around the border of a 3x3 grid. And that 3x3 grid is continuously changing throughout the game based on cards that are taken out of it. But you're going to take those turns placing workers around that grid and possibly blocking your opponent's obvious move that they want to do, and then using those to take actions around the outside because those are actions as well. And then where those workers intersect in the middle, you'll put another piece that will give you 1 to 2 more actions. So you'll have up to 5 actions on your turn. It's really fun that that is a 2-player worker placement game. You don't find many of those that are actually designed that way.
Right.
Now, the art is a little stark because the theme is in the desert. So if you don't like just brown everywhere, then, you may or may not like the look of this game. Like, for example, if I found this on the shelf in the store, I may not pick it up just based on the look. But I can get over that because the gameplay is so good. And the expansion completely changes the game. It replaces a whole deck. It adds in a whole new deck. Many of the border cards are replaced. And so you kind of have 2 whole completely different games using the same mechanisms. And so that is Targi. That is my number 10. It's a great game.
My number 9 is Arkham Horror, the card game. This is a cooperative, campaign-style, story-driven game. In this game, you will have a deck that you have constructed ahead of time, and you are going to be playing each a different investigator. You're going to be moving around the board that you've created with cards, investigating different locations and uncovering clues and secrets, and following the storyline through several scenarios to complete your campaign. I think my favorite thing about this game is the story that we're being told. I also really enjoy the fact that if we lose a scenario, we haven't lost the entire campaign. You can still lose a scenario and then set up the game and play the next scenario. And so what you're doing with your deck is at the end of each scenario, you're able to add different cards into your deck that are better than the ones you had before and cull cards that aren't going to be as good.
And to add to that, in addition to the fact that you can, quote unquote, lose the scenario and still continue the campaign, there are usually anywhere from 3 to 5 different possible endings for every scenario.
Right.
So you can play this multiple times and still maybe not even get every single possible ending to each scenario.
This has this push your luck combat element because you're actually drawing a modifier from a bag full of random modifiers. And so you might wind up with an auto fail. No matter what you do, no matter how many cards you put down that are going to help you out in that particular battle, you might get an auto fail. And there's just nothing you can do about it. So you just have to move on.
It's like rolling a nat 1 and
yeah.
D&D. Oh no.
So there's a real push your luck element to this game.
Yes.
So if that's not something that you enjoy, this might not be for you. Also, if you don't love the horror theme, this might not be for you either. The horror theme, I gotta say, isn't my absolute favorite theme in the world, but there is just something really cool about this game and how it all comes together. It feels really eerie. We actually played this one time when we lost power and we lit candles and played it.
That's right.
It was so much fun.
This is a really long game too. So if you're not interested in playing long games, like each scenario is going to be at least an hour. And because it's a campaign, be prepared to play multiple times before completely finishing. Now they do have like pre-constructed character decks and one-shot adventures that are just one scenario. But the majority of the game and the game design is for that campaign. As Sarah already said, this is an amazing game.
It really is an amazing game. And so that is why Arkham Horror the card game is my number 9.
My number 9 is Splendor Duel. This is a resource management set collection game, very, very similar to the game it's based on, just normal Splendor. But this game adds a whole new element of a board that you have to pick things off of so that you can buy those upgraded cards. So what you're doing is you're grabbing resources to buy cards from the available cards that are set up in the middle of the table that then make new cards to buy less expensive because now you have that green color permanently rather than having to grab the resource. And you're just trying to get the most points, but it's just really well designed. It works really well as that 2-player back and forth, whereas the game it's based off of doesn't really work the best at 2-player. And in fact, I actually am not a huge fan of the game that it's based off of. The Splendor Duel is a really good game. And I mean, I can't really even think of any negatives to it. It is a little bit simpler, I guess you could say that. So if you're looking for something more complex, this may not be for you. But it's just a really well done version of Splendor.
I absolutely love this game. And I would play this game hands down 100 times over the original game.
Right.
It is so enjoyable.
So my number 9, Splendor Duel.
My number 8 is Sky Team, Prepare for Landing. Sky Team is a cooperative dice placement game where you are working to land a plane safely. In this game, one of you plays as the pilot and another one plays as the co-pilot. And so you have control over different parts of the shared board that's in the middle of the table. You have planes that are coming in that you need to radio the tower to get out of the way. You have landing gear that needs to come down. You have brakes that need to be applied.
Flaps that need to go up.
Right. You have you need to level out. And so each person takes turns placing one of their dice that you've rolled and you hide behind a screen. And so your partner doesn't know what's on your dice. And so you might actually need to put it in one section of the board where you're able to gain a coffee cup, which will allow you to either go up or down on one of your dice rolls. So that really helps mitigate that potentially disastrous roll that you might have. So you're placing the dice on the board, and based on where you place that, that's when the brakes are applied or the flaps come up. And so again, like I said earlier, you are trying to land this plane safely, because if you're coming in and you're not level, you're gonna crash. If you're coming in and all of your brakes aren't on, then you're gonna crash. There's a lot of potential chaos that can happen with these random dice rolls, and you are not really allowed to talk to your partner while you're placing your dice. You might not know what they're going to do. And so that is where the push and pull and the enjoyment of this game comes in for me.
And then once you master that, there are new mechanisms that come into play, new things that you have to control. You have to control your fuel. You have to deal with new planes that are coming in your way and many other things. And then there's an expansion.
Right.
And things get harder and harder, and so you can kind of play it as a campaign if you want, but really each game is its own thing.
Mark and I really enjoy playing this game together, and that's why Sky Team is my number 8.
My number 8 is T for Two. So how many of you remember playing that old game with a deck of regular playing cards, War, where you just divvy up the cards and then you each flip over a random card, the top card of your deck, and you see whose is higher, and then you capture cards from each other, and it takes forever, and it's really annoying when you've gotten older and your little siblings or your children want to play this with you, and it is the most boring thing on the face of the planet, right? Well, this takes War and just makes it an actual really good game.
Mm-hmm.
So first of all, you're not capturing cards from each other. The game is you're getting victory points. And it has a little bit of deck building in it too. And it's quite short, so it doesn't take forever like that old game War does. And it's Alice in Wonderland themed, and it's a lot of fun going back and forth and randomly seeing if you won or not, and then gaining points based on that. I can't really even think of anything that would make you not want to play this game. I mean, if you really hate War, then maybe this game isn't for you. But if you really hate War, then maybe you'll see that you actually don't hate War by playing this game.
Right.
In any case, I really like this game. That is T for Two.
My number 7 is Tokaido Duo. In this game, you are moving pawns around the board. You have a merchant, you have a painter, and you have a pilgrim. Each pawn moves around the board differently and activates a different thing based on the area of the board that they moved around on. Your painter is moving around the board, trying to sell their paintings. Your merchant is going around the board, collecting goods, and then going to different places on the board to sell them. And your pilgrim is sightseeing. Each player has 3 boards, 1 board for each of the different pawns. And your goal is to move around in such a way that you collect the most victory points.
Tokaido Duo is actually very different from its big brother, Tokaido.
Right. In the original Tokaido, you're actually waiting to be last in line so that you can then take your turn. And so that's how that one plays out. So someone will move, and then the person behind will go again. And then once they're no longer behind, then the next person will be able to move. And so this one is quicker and snappier. And so Mark and I really enjoy this version of Tokaido, and it does change quite a few things about the gameplay. And it's really, really enjoyable. You should definitely check out Tokaido, my number 7.
My number 7 is Kelp. And this game is extremely asymmetrical. So the 2 different players are playing as either the shark or the octopus. And the octopus is attempting to stay away from the shark and stay alive by eating things, like eating arthropods and seaweed, etc. And the shark is trying to hunt down the octopus and eat it.
So this is a game about eating.
So it is very asymmetrical in the sense that the octopus is playing a deck building game, a small deck building game with some hand management and hidden movement, and it's very strategic in its play, whereas the shark is playing a completely different game. You really are playing 2 different games on the same board. The shark is bag building, dice bag building, and then using those dice, playing cards for mitigation, dice roll mitigation, and then moving around the board and doing the other half of that hidden movement, attempting to find the octopus. The game is over when either the shark starves to death,
Right.
or the shark finds the octopus and is able to eat it, because there's even that at the end of the game, kind of completely random rock, paper, scissors thing, where the first time the shark finds the octopus, you play one of 3 cards. And if you play the same card, you each play the same card, then the shark found the octopus and was able to eat it. If you play a different card than each other, then the octopus has the opportunity to run away and hide or do something special. But those 2 cards are then eliminated. And then the next time you only have 2 to choose from.
Right.
And so anyway, it's really interesting, can be really tense.
It really can. It really can. I love the different mechanisms of this game. I really like deck building. So I usually like to play the octopus. And Mark really enjoys that bag building kind of tactical play. So we usually play that way. Mark will play the shark and he'll be hunting me, and I play the octopus. I'm just trying to stay hidden as long as possible. It's so enjoyable. It's a really, really good game.
And the pieces are really well
stunning.
made. It's incredible production. The only thing I can say that might be negative about it is just that it can be a little complex, and you really need to know both sides. The easier side to understand would be the octopus. You have more simple choices on the octopus side, and after playing a while, the shark also can be pretty easy to understand, but there's more to wrap your head around. It's a little bit more complex, and it isn't quite as intuitive.
Right, so a little bit of a learning curve to get started in the game.
Yes. But it is just a really good two-player only game. And that is Kelp, my number 7.
My number 6 is Kinfire Delve. This is a cooperative hand management push your luck game where you're each playing as a different character and you have your own unique pre-constructed deck. In this game, you are trying to delve deep into a well to find this game's main boss.
There are currently 3 different versions of Kinfire Delve, each with their own main boss. This one is Scorn's Stockade, and each coming with 2 characters that can be mixed and matched and combined with any of the other ones to create quite a bit of variety.
I absolutely love the gameplay on this one. I really like the cooperative gameplay. I love playing this game with Mark, with the cards that you can play. So you have your board set up, and your goal is to delve into this well. And in order to do that, you have to chip away at this enemy's card stack. And so you have cards that come out and you have to battle each individual card that comes out. And so I can play a card because maybe it's my turn, and then Mark can actually boost that to give me a little bit of a help. And then you have your push your luck element that comes in. You're gonna roll those dice, and that might help you or not help you defeat that card depending on what you rolled.
So do you want to give yourself exactly enough what you need so that it doesn't matter what you roll, you win no matter what? Or do you want to say, well, I think we're gonna roll at least 1 success here, maybe 2. So let's give it, 2 left over so that we just expect to roll 2 successes.
Right.
And then it works out anyway.
Right, so that's where that push your luck comes in. This game works so well, and we play this game, and I feel every single time we play, like we're gonna lose. We're absolutely gonna lose.
It's so tense.
We're gonna get destroyed. This is terrible. I'm running out of cards. Oh my gosh. Okay, we're gonna have to play it again. And then we win somehow. We pull it out. And so there is a lot of that tense feeling to this game. The art on these cards is stunning. They're beautiful. The cards are spot UV. They just shimmer and shine, and I absolutely love each character's unique art style, the character that they've built for each deck. It's just an absolutely beautiful game. Mm-hmm. So not only do I enjoy the gameplay, I enjoy looking at this game while I'm playing it. And so that is why Kinfire Delve is my number 6.
My number 6 is Star Wars, the deck building game. And this game is, it's in the title. It's a deck building game.
Right.
So if you have played a deck building game before, you pretty much know what's going on here. You each start with a deck of 10 cards that is nearly the same, and you'll get a hand of 5 cards. You'll use those cards to gain purchasing power to buy cards in the center deck. And in the Star Wars version, you'll have some light side cards, some dark side cards. So if you're playing the dark side, you can only purchase the dark side cards, but you can kill off the light side cards, which is a really interesting twist on this version. Mm-hmm. So that center deck is shared by both people. And then you're trying to chip away at the opponent's health. And again, in this version, you're trying to destroy 3 bases. And each player has a number of bases to choose from. So when one is destroyed, you look through that base deck and you pull out another one.
Right.
And
depending on how the gameplay is going, you might want to pick one base over another.
Right.
I really like the fact that I have several to choose from to bring out.
And they're very different. So one of them has a really powerful ability when it comes out, but it has low health. And then the reverse is true for some of them. High health, but it doesn't really do much for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so this is my favorite version of that style deck building game.
Yes.
Now, there are some other ones, such as Shards of Infinity.
Great game.
This is nearly right there. with the Star Wars deck building
Mm-hmm.
game. I like this one just about as much. And then there is also Star Realms. Now, this one kind of fell off my radar quite a long time ago, but this was the first of these three that was created. And this is still really good. And the theme is great and very unique for different sides.
Mm-hmm.
However, again, my favorite of this genre is the Star Wars deck building game. Now, if you don't like deck building games, this isn't going to change your mind. Unless
Probably
you're
not.
just a huge Star Wars fan and that is the thing that brings you in. This is a straight up deck building game. It's very well done, pretty simple as far as deck building games are concerned. It's great. So that is my number 6.
My number 5 is Lone Wolves. This is a competitive, trick-taking, area majority strategy game. This game has 5 different areas that you're fighting for control over. You do have to follow suit in this trick-taking game, but there's no trump. The cards in your hand will range from 2 all the way up to 7. You will play your card down in front of a specific area. That's the area that you are wanting to take control over. Your opponent does not have to play a card also in that same area. They can play a card anywhere. If you've played the highest card, then you're going to keep that face up, and that's going to add to your score in trying to control that area. If you lose the trick, then you're going to flip your card face down. That's your lone wolf. It'll have a 1 on it. The benefit of losing one of these tricks is you actually get to take a token off of the area that you played your card in front of, and each token will give you a specific benefit. So sometimes your strategy in this game is to actually lose the trick. These benefits are basically extra victory points. So they'll give you a victory point for specific numbered cards that you have in front of your area. They might actually even allow you to flip over a token that's actually scored in that area and give maybe the opponent less points, which is a really sneaky way to steal points from your opponent.
Or yourself more points. If
Right.
you're winning an area, you can flip that token over. Maybe it was the lower value, flip it over, and now it's the higher value.
Mm-hmm. So all of these tokens that are on each play area really are a good benefit. And so again, your strategy might be to lose the trick because you might be able to come back and win the next one and get more points for yourself. Game's over when you're out of cards, and whoever has the most points is going to win that game.
The only thing negative I would say about this game is it is kind of the same game rotation nearly every time you play it. It has a good amount of variety in the token placement and what comes up in each game and the value. But this is not a game that I, being somebody who likes a lot of variety in my games, wants to come back to over and over and over and over and over. I do like this game. I do really like this game. It's one that I will play somewhat often, but not constantly.
I really enjoy the strategy of this game. And so I don't mind playing multiple games because I might not have won. And so I want to play again. And I want to best my opponent. And I love trick-taking games, and I'm loving all the 2-player trick-taking games that are out there. So that is why Lone Wolves is my number 5.
Number 5 is apparently our trick-taking number because my number 5 is Sail, which is a cooperative trick-taking game for 2 players, wherein you are playing as crew members of a ship, and you are attempting to get all the way across this board to the final space, avoiding obstacles like rocks, and then there's a kraken that's coming and trying to destroy your boat. And so when you play cards, you are trying to play similar or complementing symbols on those cards because each card has a different symbol. So if you match cards with a wheel, so like the steering wheel of the ship, I don't remember what that's called, but if you match those cards, then you get to move the ship forward. The board has diamonds on it, and so you're going to move the ship forward in the slight direction of the player who won the trick. If there's an obstacle in the way, then you can't move at all.
Right.
And so there's definite risk in, well, do I play this card because I expect that she has the complementing card? And then in addition to that, there are cards with a little kraken tentacle on it, and then there are cards with a cannon. So if we each play a card with a tentacle on it, we're going to take 2 damage, which is adding lower value cards into our deck, making it more difficult.
Right.
But if I play a tentacle and she plays a cannon, then we get to remove that tentacle card from our deck. So again, we want to cooperatively get to the end of this track. And I just really like the puzzle that this creates. And,
it's definitely a puzzle.
Yes.
There's a lot of push and pull.
Yes, and it is pretty difficult. So onto like cons, it's pretty difficult. Now it does have several ranges of difficulty, and the idea is you beat that one, so you move on to the next most difficult, etc. But it's pretty difficult, and so if that's a barrier for you, then you may not like it. Also, the card colors are a little, they didn't do the best job. They look great, but
beautiful.
some of them are kind of difficult to tell the difference, especially if you're colorblind. I'm not colorblind, but I hear that if you're colorblind or have like red-green color blindness, it might be a little difficult to tell. Now the pattern is a little different on each one, so there are ways around that. But that is another thing to consider. Now, having said that, we just backed Sail Legacy, and that I'm expecting to be excellent. And they corrected some of the card color issues on that, so I actually expect the second edition of this to have a correction on that as well.
This game is really challenging. A lot of fun, beautiful art, beautiful pieces that we have. Oh, I think we got upgraded pieces for the game. Really, really visually stunning. It is really challenging though. We hardly win this game. We lose more often than we actually win. And I don't know, maybe that's why you like that so much, because you just want to come back for the challenge and you just want to do better every time we play. So really, really fun game.
So that is my number 5, Sail.
My number 4 is our first crossover, and it is Tea for Two. I absolutely love this game. I love the IP of Alice in Wonderland. We have so many Alice in Wonderland themed games.
We do, yeah.
I own all the Alice in Wonderland movies. I have an Alice in Wonderland card playing deck. I just love the IP. But this game is so good. Every time we play it, I love it. I enjoy it. You have this flamingo. You have a clock. You have the tea. You have pastries. It's this wonderful world that I love delving into. What Mark said earlier about it being like war is very true. You're playing a card, you're comparing it, the person that gets the highest card wins. You get the benefit when you win of being able to either take something from the center that's there, you can take a tart, maybe you want to take the flamingo, there's this whole different wheel that you can spin, move around and get benefits from that, or you can buy a card. Is it with a difference?
Yes.
Yeah, so you could buy a card with the difference of
between the two cards
what you played and then what your opponent played, and then put that in your deck. And so that when you shuffle your hand again, going through your deck too quickly though, you're putting that rabbit in there, and the rabbit might not be the most beneficial thing to have in your deck.
It's a 1.
It is a 1, right? But this is just such a fun game, and because it's so visually stunning, I am always in the mood to play Tea for Two.
So number 4 is apparently our crossover number.
Right.
So because my number 4 is Sky Team.
Hey!
And again, Sarah pretty much covered everything about it. This is a great game. I love the colors. I love the theme. Orange is my favorite color, and that's one of the colors of the dice. So
that's true, yeah.
It's the co-pilot, so I kind of always pick the co-pilot.
We like this game so much, we went ahead and bought some upgraded pieces for it.
Yes, that's
which is really cool. And we found it when we were playing at a Dice Tower convention, that there was a sticker on it which talked about where you could get those upgraded pieces. And so we were able to do that.
Yeah.
And the game is even more beautiful now with those upgraded pieces. So it has the metal to replace some of the cardboard. And it just makes it more fun to play.
Yes. So that is my number 4, Sky Team.
My number 3 is actually another crossover with Mark, and it is Star Wars, the deck building game. This is another copy of it. This is the Clone Wars edition. So we have 2 different editions of the deck building game.
It's kind of 2 different eras in the Star Wars. The first one that I showed you had the original series, and this is the Clone Wars edition. So this is the Star Wars prequels.
Right, right. I love deck building games. They are, the deck building, engine building is kind of my favorite style of gameplay. And so absolutely love deck building. I fell in love with Star Realms, which we talked about earlier. The similarities of Star Realms and Shards of Infinity. We fell in love with Shards of Infinity as well when we got that. And it was really funny because Mark said, oh, we got Shards of Infinity, we should get rid of Star Realms. And I said, no, we can't get rid of Star Realms. I love it. And I think I just love deck building so much that any game that has deck building, I don't want to get rid of it. So I would say in the order of rank, though, with these games, and they all have a slightly different thing that they do. So this is definitely my favorite version of the style of deck building game. Shards of Infinity would come in second, and then Star Realms would come in third. I also know there's a Hero Realms, which we have played before.
Yes,
that didn't even get on our radar. It's not something that we actually purchased. I love sci-fi and I love fantasy. Those are my two favorite genres, my two favorite IPs. So I grew up a Trekkie and grew up on Star Wars, and
I mean, Lord of the Rings is awesome.
Lord of the Rings
obviously.
is awesome. Yes, right? If you see the logo on our channel, you know how much we love Lord of the Rings. So anything that has that kind of space or fantasy stamp on it is going to be something that I'm absolutely going to love. And again, Lord of the Rings is Mark's favorite IP. Star Wars is my favorite IP. My second is Lord of the Rings and his second is Star Wars. So it works really well. So this is so great. I love the characters on the cards. I love the art. I love how it brings me back to the movies. Reminds me of my childhood. So much fun. Love the deck building element. This is my number 3, Star Wars the deck building game.
My number 3 is Unmatched.
Yeah.
And this is Bruce Lee, because this is my favorite character to play as in Unmatched. But Unmatched is a tactical card-playing game where you pick a character, such as Bruce Lee, or there's a ton of different characters. And each character has their own pre-constructed deck. And you're going to play cards from that deck to move around the board and then attack your opponent or block or do other things that are specific to that character. And they're extremely asymmetrical characters. You have characters that are super simple to play, that they just move around and do a ton of damage. And then you have other characters that are really complex, that have a little extra things that they do, that if you play this card, then it means that this next card that you play is more powerful. And then the next card does something other that's really cool. The board is going to be different. Each set comes with a different board. This set specifically was just a character because it's just Bruce Lee. But most of the sets have 2 to 4 characters in them, and they come with a board that is specific to the theme of that set. And so you've got a huge variety of different boards you can play with. You've got a huge variety of different characters you can play with. And that's kind of the idea with the name Unmatched, is all of these characters from different genres and different IPs. By the way, that is intellectual property for the uninitiated. So you could play Bruce Lee against Alice from Alice in Wonderland, since we're talking about that, right?
True.
Or you could play Sherlock Holmes and Watson against, say, 3 raptors from Jurassic Park. And so, and in fact, we have a friend who likes Bruce Lee a ton, and so he had bought his own copy, and so we played Bruce Lee against Bruce Lee several times, and that was a lot of fun. They're
coming out with a new copy of, and they're selling it together, Bruce Lee and Muhammad Ali.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, it's a package
That's very cool.
Oh, it's in our wish list.
Well, anyway, so this is a great game. If you're not a fan of 2-player combat games, this may not be for you, but it's one of the better ones out there.
It really is.
Really one of the best ones out there. So that is my number 3, Unmatched.
My number 2 is another crossover. What do you think it is? My number 2 is Unmatched. And we just got done talking about it.
Yep.
This is my favorite set. The Cobble and Fog set is my absolute favorite set. I love the old monster Universal Studios theme with Dracula and
Invisible Man, Jekyll and Hyde, Dracula, and Sherlock Holmes.
Love all of these characters. This just makes me so happy. This whole set makes me so happy. I love this game. Absolutely. I mean, it's my number 2. This is so enjoyable. And you'd think with a game like, well, Unmatched, so maybe unbalanced, right? No, this game is so balanced.
Very much, yeah.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe I've played the same character against different people and won and then miserably lost. And so that actually shows you how balanced that character can be, because you're not playing the same character and winning every single time with that one character.
Or losing every single time.
Or losing every single time, right. What's really funny is, even though this is my favorite set and my favorite genre, I love playing Sinbad. I think you said I'd played it like 5 or 7 times.
Something like that, yeah.
So I love the different decks, the different abilities in each deck, the way that each deck plays with itself.
Which is very thematic.
It really is.
You bring up Sinbad. Sinbad has his 7 voyages. And each card in that does a different thing, but is more powerful if he's already gone on other voyages and those voyage cards are in his discard pile.
Oh, it's so cool.
A really good example of the variety of things. And for that matter, to bring that back up, Bruce Lee has Jeet Kune Do. And I think that's how you pronounce that. I think so. And so his Jeet Kune Do cards give him more actions. So you typically get 2 actions on a turn. You play Jeet Kune Do, boom, you get a 3rd action. Play another one, boom, you get a 4th action. Just, it's great.
Oh, it's awesome. And then you've got with Dracula, he has his 3 wives that also move around. Some of these characters are ranged characters, and so they can fire at you from far away. And some of them, you have to be up close and personal. So it's really interesting playing a ranged character against somebody that has to be up close and personal, because you can't just stay away and shoot at each other. You've got to get in close. And that's Dracula. Dracula, you got to get in close. And he's more powerful when he's surrounded by his wives. So really, really cool mechanisms. I think if you like this type of game, you're going to find a character or characters that you absolutely love to play. And you might not think that all of them are the best or all of them are your favorites, but I'm sure you're going to find a few that you really, really enjoy playing and want to come back to over and over again.
Which is really funny because Sarah typically really does not like tactical combat games. She's not a fan of that, but Unmatched is her number 2, and it is a tactical combat game.
Right. There's just something about this game.
Yeah, that really tells you how good this game is.
Absolutely. So this is my number 2, Unmatched.
Number 2 is another crossover number for us, and that is Arkham Horror, the card game. And this right here is the Scarlet Keys campaign expansion. And so this just reiterates the fact that there are whole campaign sets, whole campaign lines that you go through. So when you buy this now, you have the whole campaign that you can go through. And that's just several scenarios that you're going to play through with all new cards that do all sorts of things. And again, as Sarah has already said, the art is amazing and the story is amazing and convoluted and interesting and surprising sometimes. How creative they are with using cards to set up a board around the table is pretty amazing. Now I will say, and I forgot to say this when Sarah was going through it, another downside is that you are using cards for locations. And it sometimes is difficult to tell which locations are connected to each other. And so we have printed off little teeny tiny cards that have arrows on them that point, you can go from this location to that location, or you can go only from this location to that location, but not the other way, and things like that. That really helps, but it can be a table hog too.
Absolutely. Your whole table.
Cards all over the place. In any case, it still is an amazing game, and we love it. And so that is my number 2, Arkham Horror, the card game.
And my number 1 is Splendor Duel! We have another crossover. Splendor Duel is a completely different game than the original Splendor. In Splendor Duel, you actually have a board, and you set the board up with the chips, and they get set up in a spiral pattern. From that board is how you're drafting your chips. So you can take 3 chips in a row and put them in front of you. And you use those chips to buy cards. And there's different win conditions with Splendor Duel.
Which I forgot to talk about.
Yeah, than there is with the original Splendor. So there's 3 different win conditions. So either you're the first person to get to 20 points, or you're the first person to get 10 points in one color of card, or you're the first person to get 10 crowns.
Which is another new thing in this game. There are no crowns in the original Splendor.
Right.
And there are crowns on random cards in this game. And yeah, some of them have 2 crowns, some of them have 3 crowns on them.
It introduces a new gem. You now have pearls, and there's a very limited supply of pearls. And some of the cards that you want to try to get into your stack in front of you, you can only buy with a pearl. And so you're fighting over this pearl back and forth. There's a little privilege token, which essentially allows you to take an extra turn. There are some cards that you might be competing for that will give you different benefits on a card where you can steal a resource from another person, or you can actually take another turn or another action, or you can refill the board without paying an extra cost of refilling the board. So there's just a lot more going on in this game than there is in the original Splendor. It's colorful. I think it's fun. I like the quality of the pieces. I really, really enjoy this game. Play this anytime. It's my number 1, Splendor Duel.
And finally, my number 1, of course, it's a Lord of the Rings themed game.
Of course.
This is Lord of the Rings Duel for Middle-earth. And this is essentially a reconstruction, a recreation of Seven Wonders Duel, which itself is an amazing game. And Seven Wonders Duel by itself may have been my number 1. It might have been it would have been a little bit farther down the list if this one didn't exist, but this is just excellent. For those of you who have played Seven Wonders or Seven Wonders Duel, this one basically just simplifies everything and then adds some slightly different win conditions and really gives it the Lord of the Rings theme. It really does.
It does. It really shines through.
It is a 2-player drafting game, which you would think is kind of difficult to do, but you're drafting from a center construction which is made from these cards. And each time you draft, when you draft that card, that gives you an ability or something that you can do, either bring the ring closer to Mount Doom, or if you're playing the Sauron character, bring the Black Riders closer to Frodo and Sam.
Right.
Or the other thing you're trying to do is control all of the places on the map of Middle-earth. And the last win condition is to garner the support of all of the different races in Middle-earth. The art in this game is awesome. I really love it. The ramp up in power that you get throughout the game is really well done. And as I said, it simplifies things from Seven Wonders Duel so that you don't kind of get bogged down in some of the minutia of the rules and stuff like that. Which is interesting because I tend to like more complex games. And so it's kind of funny that this simplified version of a game I already love is I actually like better.
Right.
That may or may not have everything to do with the theme. But regardless, I love this game. It is excellent. I will say a little bit more about Seven Wonders Duel. If you're not a huge fan of the Lord of the Rings theme, this is still an excellent game. However, as I've already kind of alluded to, this is a much more complex game. The base game is actually mostly fine. It's not super complex, especially if you already have played Seven Wonders, the normal Seven Wonders, which is a drafting game itself. But if you add in any expansions, there are 2 expansions to this game, and they're both really good. But each one adds another layer of complexity, and then if you play with both expansions, it is quite complex.
Oh, it really is.
Yeah. But I still love this game. This one is excellent. But I just love the Duel for Middle-earth version, and I'm hoping that they do come out with some expansions. Even still, though,
I think they are.
That's true. Even without the added complexity of more expansions and stuff, I still would play this game over and over. And it is an excellent game. So that is my number 1, Lord of the Rings Duel for Middle-earth. We have one honorable mention, and this is mostly because we haven't played it a whole lot because we just got it recently.
Just got it recently. Yeah. It is Mad Kala!
A Wonderlands war game.
Here we go with Alice in Wonderland theme again. We just love it.
Yep. But we've played this only a handful of times, but so far we've really enjoyed it.
Oh yeah, I think that if we'd played this more, this probably would have wound up on at least one of our top 10
Very likely.
Lists.
But this is basically Mancala, but with an Alice in Wonderland theme, and with special powers, and it's actually a 2-player battler where you're trying to reduce the other person's health. And you have several characters you can play as that each have their own unique abilities and stuff, and it's really well done.
Oh, it's great. You can play as a Cheshire Cat, you can play as Alice, the Queen, you can play as a Caterpillar. It's really, really good.
And each of them have very asymmetric powers and stuff, and so yeah, very good. But that is Mad Kala,
our honorable mention. Thanks so much for joining us for our top 10 2-player only games.
Come back next time for some more board game videos, content, etc. Do the subscribe, like, share, all that kind of stuff. Thank you so much for joining us. See you next time.
Have fun playing games.
Bye-bye.
Bye.